Appreciate you folks being here today. With just 5 minutes, I'm going to have to really hit the high spots. I was kind of in that position already, but I want to start out first, though, by recognizing Jonathan Buttram, who is here. Jonathan is president of the Alabama Contract Poultry Growers Association, and Mickey Box, who is here representing the Arkansas poultry growers. These gentlemen traveled a long way to be here with you today, too, and they'll be glad to answer your questions about the new rules if anybody has any. Essentially, how these rules are going to positively impact poultry growers is by giving us some fair pay. That's the main thing that's going to affect us. And I have a really good example for you here. Actually, a couple of examples. This is a receipt from KFC where one of our growers bought a 12-piece chicken meal. That 12-piece chicken meal cost $26.99. Well, out of that $26.99, the integrator that they bought this chicken from grossed $4 to $5. KFC grossed about $21 of that $26.99. The chicken grower who raised that chicken spent 6 weeks at least raising that chicken, got 30 cents. Now think about that, folks. How much of a disparity is that? Another good example I have for you is, this is a grower's settlement, and I have copies of this if anybody would like some. This is a grower settlement where he got paid in 1985, and growers could make as much as 4.85 cents a pound for their chicken in 1985. Today, our base pay is 0.2 of a cent more than that. 25 years later, we make 0.2 of a cent more. And here's a settlement from last month, or actually it's September, and that indicates that the base pay for a conventional house here is 5.05 cents. 485, 505. How would you like to be living on what you made in 1985? We are every day. These rules change, essentially make retaliation against growers a federal offense. That's another threat that growers live under every day. There's not a grower I've ever spoken to that hasn't told me that some way or another they've been threatened to be retaliated against by the company that they raise chickens for, or turkeys. I can use myself as a good example. They had a biosecurity form that they wanted me to sign, and it said on this biosecurity form that I had questions and I had a chance to have my questions answered by the company, which I didn't. I requested that and they didn't do it. So they called me in, I signed the form and I wrote on there that I have not had an opportunity to have my questions answered. They called me into the office and threw that form down in front of me and said, if you don't sign this before you leave here, you're not going to get chickens. Over signing the form. There was just a CYA thing. It was insignificant. And it ranges all the way from that up to growers being compelled to make $100,000 or more of upgrades in their poultry houses to continue their contracts. Right now, the majority of growers work under a flock-to-flock contract. Even though we have an investment, a tremendous investment in our poultry rearing facilities. To build a new facility like mine today costs $1 million. But my contract is flock-to-flock. That means when this flock leaves out, if I get another flock, I still have a contract. If they don't bring me chickens, tough. There's nothing I can do about it. And that's not fair. Growers, these new rules will change the situation where growers are compelled to make improvements so they can sell their farms. The companies will go to a prospective buyer who wants to buy a poultry farm, and when this buyer goes to the company and says, can I have a contract, they'll say yes if you do $100,000 in upgrades to your houses. Or they'll tell the grower who's trying to sell it, we're not going to give a new buyer a contract unless you make all these upgrades. And the rules say if your facility is in good working condition, when you go to sell it, they can't compel you to make those improvements. It changes our legal rights. Right now, we got some rules changed back, I believe they took effect first of the year, about arbitration, saying that they couldn't compel us to binding arbitration. But when our contract came out that reflected that, it said that we're going to restrict you to a trial by judge only. You can't have your trial in front of a jury. You know, this is the United States of America. I think everybody ought to have a right to trial by jury. Another thing it does is it covers all poultry producers. Right now, broiler growers like myself, are the only ones really covered under the GIPSA rules. This is going to include breeder growers who raise, they're the egg people that they get the eggs from to hatch for broilers and meat chickens. And it's going to cover what's called pullet growers too. They're the folks that raise the breeder growers to get them up to the age where they start laying eggs. They can be hatched for the industry. I wish I had more time. If you have more questions, I'm going to be here. After we're finished, I'll be glad to answer your questions for you.